When a patient thinks his old symptoms have returned, St. Luke's neurosurgeons helped him find out that it was an entirely different diagnosis.
I was a runner for 40 years. Just before I quit running, I was leaning forward a little too far, I thought, and a little disoriented occasionally. I just thought it was age.
Clifford was very interesting. So he's a very bright guy, mathematics professor, and he was also an avid traveler. I mean, he's traveled to South America, he's been everywhere. And when he came in, what he was noticing was progressive difficulties with his walking, so getting around, so he couldn't travel as much, he wasn't as mobile. And even for a university level mathematics professor, probably wasn't remembering and processing things as well as he could.
3 years ago is when I started having severe symptoms. I started falling down, was incontinent of urine, and a little fuzzy in my thinking. I had previously had a lower back problem, and I went to a neurosurgeon. He sent me for an MRI and discovered that I had normal pressure hydrocephalus. Then I contacted the neurosurgical office here. I met this wonderful Dr. Rabin, who operated and saved my life.
The treatment for normal pressure hydrocephalus, which just briefly is a person who comes in with progressive problems with walking and balance. They can have problems with their memory, problems with their bladder function. Sometimes they can have what's called normal pressure hydrocephalus. And here at St. Luke's, we've developed a very unique program, an integrated program actually now at the Center for Positive Aging, that really tries to help optimize people's function. But the thing is, while brain surgery is quite frightening for a lot of people, the truth is not all brain surgeries are big surgeries. And so this involves placing a shunt for normal pressure hydrocephalus that can be really just involve 3 smaller incisions. As a neurosurgeon here at St. Luke's University Health Network, I really help people manage their neurological conditions that are surgical. So a large part of what I do here is spine, and I do a fair amount of minimally invasive spine surgery. Not everybody is a candidate for minimally invasive spine surgery, and I think it's important to be able to offer both. So we do open complex spine surgery, we do minimally invasive spine surgery, and we're really able to offer the full gamut or the full breadth of neurosurgical spine care here at St. Luke's Neurosurgical Associates.
This operation that I had amounts to a real lifesaver in terms of being able to function normally. I couldn't before.
It can make a big difference in the right patient in the more global context of trying to improve their function, their ability to walk, interact with their families and friends, and just improve quality of life, usually in a bit of an older population, so patients that are over 50 or 60 years old.
There were sort of testimonials of people who had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's or dementia. In some cases they were institutionalized and then later discovered that it was this condition and had a sort of a miraculous recovery. And I saw that, I said, yeah, I'm gonna get that operation.
When I saw him in follow-up, he started telling me about his plans of, traveling through the South America again and everything, and that was really neat. And he just felt a bit sharper and quicker to process information. So he's a great example of a success story for normal pressure hydrocephalus.
I just can't tell you how wonderful it was.
Joining in the studio is Doron Rabin, nurse coordinator for St. Luke's University Health Network, NPH Clinic. Thank you so much for being here, Doron.
Oh, no, thank you.
How common of a problem is NPH?
So it is estimated that hundreds of thousands of people do have NPH, but they're actually misdiagnosed with just Alzheimer's, dementia, or Parkinson's.
What are some of the symptoms that people need to be aware of?
So there's 3 common signs and symptoms of NPH. We call it like the clinical triad of symptoms. Number 1 being dementia-like symptoms, so problems with cognition and memory. But then there's also oftentimes urinary incontinence and sometimes gait dysfunction, so difficulty with walking. They have a specific type of walk. It's like a short, shuffly type gait, as we call it. But then also it's usually backed up with like radiographic evidence, so either an MRI or a CAT scan of the brain that may show that their ventricles are enlarged.
Doron, if you suspect that you have some of the symptoms that you just described, what's the process for getting checked?
Well, first and foremost, I think it's very important to start with your primary care provider. It's very important that these primary care providers are educated on the signs and symptoms as well, so that they can refer the patients to the correct neurosurgeon who specializes in normal pressure hydrocephalus, as Dr. Rabin does for St. Luke's. So for the first visit, for the first consult, what we do is we bring patients in just to get some baseline data, to meet them, to go over some information with them. So they'll come in, they'll do a physical therapy, like it's just a little walking assessment. They don't do a full laborious PT exercise or anything. It's just a little gait assessment where we can measure different things as far as their speed of walking, their balance, things like that. After they finish that little assessment, they'll come across the hall and I take them back to do a little mental exam. It's a mini mental exam called the MOCA. And that stands for Montreal Cognitive Assessment, and we will perform that, and that's another, that's more data that Dr. Rabin will use then to determine and make his diagnosis of possible or probable NPH. So after we get our baseline data, the next step, if the patient wants to and the family is willing, they'll come back in for another appointment where we will do a lumbar puncture. So a small amount of their cerebrospinal fluid will be removed through a puncture site in their low back. There's pretty much zero downtime. It's pretty much pain-free for the most part. And then patients will come back up about an hour after they have that done to repeat the physical therapy and then the mini mental exam as well. And we'll look for any improvement, like both subjectively and objectively, to see if the data has improved and if the patient feels that, oh, you know what, I feel a little bit more clear mentally.
You know, in your role, in your administrative role of dealing with patients, what would you like them to know about alleviating the fears they may have about going to see a doctor?
Absolutely, and not just a doctor, but most people will consider it, brain surgery, and that's scary. But honestly, these guys are really great. No consult's a waste of time. We, welcome all people to come in. We want to improve your quality of life. So if you have any questions or concerns about the symptoms you're experiencing, we do recommend that you talk with your primary care provider to make sure you get the proper referral.
Let's go after the surgery. They're probably amazed to find out that what they thought was a life sentence is now gone.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've had some patients, and honestly, this is what makes my job worthwhile. We see the patients who, I haven't been able to get up and walk more than, 10 feet without, needing to sit back down, or my balance was horrible. I was falling all the time, and now these patients can go to the mall and they can go to the grocery store, and they just have some of their life back. So honestly, it just gives them a better overall quality of life. They're more interactive with their family and friends, and it's honestly really great to see. So,
Lauren, thank you so very much for being here.
Oh, thanks, Mike.
For more information on St. Luke's Neurosurgical Center or anything on today's show, just go to our website, thepeaktv.com. Thanks so very much for watching. Have a great week, and remember, every day is your chance to be your best self. This is The Peak. Hi, it's Mike Mittman from The Peak TV. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget, subscribe and give us a thumbs up to see more videos.